time to whip off your bra, pour a glass of wine, and join us for this week's Drinks at 6 Kit.
Hi there, and welcome to this week's Drinks at 6 Kit. Hi Monica.
Hi Jacqueline.
And hi everyone, and thanks for joining us this week. This week we have a kit that is near and dear to our hearts. Not an easy kit to talk about, but we have the How to Help a Friend Through Cancer kit this week. I'm sure many people out there have been affected by cancer, whether it's family, friends, or themselves. It's an awkward time when you're trying to provide support for somebody, and I think that both of us have found that when we have close friends and family going through it, we've learned a lot through the experience. So we want to share some tips with you today and a few things that will really help you to be a good support system for somebody who is going through the big C. I want to start by talking about some of the amazing work that Monica through Glam Jewels is doing with Jarvinsky, and I want to take it over to you to talk about something I think that everyone should listen to, and I think people are going to want to get their hands on this.
Yeah, so just to give a bit of background, I decided to help the Jarvinsky Cancer Center, having absolutely no experience with cancer, nobody in my family, no friends. But I did know that they took all of their proceeds and put it right back into the hospital, which I really liked, and had heard different things about them. And their symbol is a hummingbird, and because the hummingbird is a very strong bird and it symbolizes strength and vitality, that was their symbol.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, over there, Jacqueline, I brought, we have these hummingbird bracelets, and we actually sell them on our website. And it's just a little bracelet with the hanging bird there.
Yeah.
And the proceeds go directly to the Jarvinsky Cancer Center. So, you can check that out online for sure. But since that time, my dad, he passed away in 2012, and he was taken care of at Jarvinsky. Mm-hmm. Amazing. They actually call the hospital the Jarvinsky Hotel. You feel like you were just treated like gold there. It's amazing. And I've also had a friend that has gone through it, and now sadly another friend going through it, and you know, it hits all of us, and
it's more common than you think. And I'm hypersensitive to it now because I've got a few friends who have gone through it, and I want to talk about how you can be a good support for someone who's a good friend going through it. And then there's also an even more awkward level, which is someone who is like a colleague or a neighbor who you want to help, but you don't want to infringe on their privacy during such a sensitive time. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I learned, I have a very good friend who went through breast cancer over a year ago and has come out on the other side and is very healthy, but it was a very nerve-wracking time. And the things that I learned about that, how to sort of support her, just by talking to her, and I took her to some appointments, and her boyfriend at the time took her to chemo. So I think if you want to be a good buddy to somebody, a cancer buddy, offer to take them to some appointments. Never let them go to any of them alone. I think that there's so much important information that they learn in all of these appointments that are critical, and I think when you're going through it and your mindset is one of fear and surprise and shock, you're likely to forget some things. So I found that going to appointments and really taking notes of what the doctors were saying.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it's a great idea to even bring your own little notebook and take notes and then give it to your friend afterwards, because you are inundated with information.
Absolutely. And take note of what your friend or partner is, also how they're reacting to some of the treatments. Like I know with my girlfriend, they tapped out some of the veins in one arm, so now when she goes for any sort of procedure, they can't use the veins in that arm. Right. They have to find somewhere else to do the IV. So keeping on top of those things for that friend is really, really helpful, because they've got so much going on in their mind every time they go through a procedure. I also, my girlfriend is pretty easy to read. I could tell that we would be in appointments and she would be asking questions and confused by the information, and she would push and push. And doctors some of them can be a little difficult to understand, and they don't realize that the information they're giving you is complicated. Mm-hmm. So I could tell she didn't want to be a bother, so I would be the bother for her, and I would push her doctor and say, I'm not sure I understand what that means. What are the implications? So that she didn't feel uncomfortable and I could be the bad cop, and then I was fine doing that.
That's amazing.
But it really, I find that like keeping on top of that and trying to keep notes of all that information really helped her, because you know you can be distracted and forget, and I think there are some critical things that you need to remember through the whole journey.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And just the whole, you know, we all say stay positive, stay positive. It's very difficult for the person going through it, and even for us, to stay positive, because your mind naturally goes to, oh my, I can't lose this person. You do think of the worst. That's human nature. And one of my very best friends went through it 3 years ago, and like your friend too, came out great on the other side. And my second visit with her, once she had started her treatment, she said to me, I want you to know that in this house, we do not use the word chemotherapy. We use the word treatment, because treatment implies I'm getting better. And she also said, and if she knew I wouldn't do this, but she said to many of her friends, if you have stories about other people that have gone through it, and the end result was not the end result that I need to hear for my personal journey, I don't want to hear the story. And if you're going to continue, then I'm going to have to just end this friendship until I get better. And she stuck by that. And you know what? It was her way of getting rid of that outside noise. She had one goal, and I would say that I think it's very, very difficult too, because everyone has a story. We all share stories. It's for the intention is for comfort, but I think for anybody going through it too, from what I've learned from my friends, is you have to remember that somebody else's story is not your story. And just always remember what your goals are, what you are, you know, what you are trying to achieve every time you go for treatment, and that you're coming out on the other side healthy and
remaining positive. And that's what my friend said. You know, don't talk to somebody who's going through it on the negative, pessimistic. I mean, keep a positive and a casual outlook. Like, you're going to get through this. I have total faith. You've got this. And I think, you know, they need that inspiration to keep going. And just, I mean, the day-to-day grind of this, the treatments, the time to travel back and forth to recover, to try to carry on with your own life, it's so difficult. And you have to be the calm. Like, you have to be that voice that says, you can keep doing this. It's all going to be okay.
Exactly.
Right?
So there's another question that people always ask a friend that's going through cancer, and that question is, what is it that I can do? And I do have an answer for anyone that is going through treatment or going through it. I brought some things over here. There is, in the Hamilton area at the Dundas Valley Conservation Camp, there is this amazing walk run, and it's a family thing, so you don't have to like run 10K in 5 minutes or anything like that. And it's called the Bright Run. So I have a couple other things there too. This is the little hat that they give you, or you can buy there, and then you get a medal after. Nice. Everybody gets this medal. They also have, this is wonderful. So it's a little pin you can wear, and it says, I have a bright idea. So someone will ask you, what's your bright idea? So yeah, the best thing you can do is sign up for this run or a run like this, and make the team about your friend. You know, like, do it in your friend's name, get all the girls together, walk for that friend. If that friend can come along and walk, if they feel up to it, amazing. If they don't, take tons of pictures and celebrate them and give them that good, you know, put all your endorphins into them on that day. And this year, I think it's on September the 10th. And you can go ahead and register on their website, brightrun.ca.
And we'll share that link on our post, so that you can go and register directly. I mean, and that sort of thing happens in many towns across Canada, so you can show your support no matter where you are. A couple of other things that you can do. One thing that is really critical to know is, and I learned this from my friend, and I had no idea, many people going through it end up in this sort of very serious depression that can last about 72 hours, which can also become a suicidal period for them, where they need constant watch. And not a lot of people will reach out. So if you are very close to someone who's going through it and who is living alone, you would want to, I would highly recommend you stay in touch as much as possible, especially if you sense that they're starting to really sink into a funk about that, because that can be a pretty critical time for them.
Yeah, and you know, one of the great ways to do it is even to go on, like, I'm just thinking of an Instagram page I follow called Breast Cancer Support Services, because they're in Burlington.
Yeah.
And they post wonderful, like positive quotes and things that just make you feel like, you know, carrying on and fighting through, and they're worded in a way that's very tactful and beautiful. And that's something you could do a quick screenshot, send it to your friend.
Yeah,
and it's
little
sometimes a
inspiration.
few words can just you know, turn the ship around.
Yeah. And just sort of helping out in a physical sense, picking up groceries for them, offering to do laundry, offering to stay on a couch one night, watch crappy movies, and just stick with them. I think those are really important things that you can do. And I mean, after treatment, you're so tired. And potentially sick, right? So if you can offer to help out around the house, take the dog for a walk, something like that.
Yeah.
But what do you do if it is a colleague or a neighbor and you really want to help out, but you don't want to come across as feeling sorry for them, and you also don't know them well enough to say take their children on a play date. And so I have a neighbor who went through it last year, and she's lovely and very strong woman, but you know, she's got a few kids, and that's really tough. So I made salads and soups and delivered them to her once a week when I could, and offered to help out. If I had to go to the grocery store, I would say, do you need anything me to pick it up for you? I think when you ask people what they need, they don't know how to tell you. I wouldn't know what I needed,
Yes,
you know, and then
right.
if it's someone you don't know well, you feel like you're imposing on them. So I think it's up to you to come up with ways to help them and just sort of source at their comfort level. But I think overall, like, not to say anything negative, to keep it on the positive, to always look on the bright side. That's your job, right? Your job is to be the beacon of hope. And
Exactly. And wear bright colors. Like
and wear
us.
bright pink.
Yes. Go see them in something bright. No gray, black, beige. Blah.
I wear black all the time. That's to hide my lunch. But if you have any tips and you've gone through and you've been a great cancer buddy, or someone's really supported you, we would love if you could share that. And I think anyone reading this would love to know what they can do to really help somebody who's going through this really tough time.
Yeah.
And I want to say thanks for joining us, and we look forward to your support and your comments. And I'm going to have to say, cancer, fuck you.